Coin toss.
What's good, everybody, and a very warm welcome to APK Media Interview, everybody. Happy New Year to all of y'all that is tuning in, everybody. I'm James APK. Glad you are with us. And also, Happy New Year again. Man, oh man, it is time. It's time again for APK Media Interview. Our new season, as you can see, pretty different. And also, as usual, the same APK. Well, enough about me. Let's get right to the chase. Today I'm talking with a dancer all the way from the West Coast who does a familiar movement that has pretty much captivated much of the United States, that started all the way up in New York, that has impacted much of the nation of the United States and parts of the globe. And of course, it is Flexn. But Flexn has also reached in many parts, including the West Coast, because let me tell you, it could be one of the individuals that we're talking to today that could be one of the leading figures of that. So we're not going to waste any more time. Please welcome Johnny the Fox. Johnny the Fox, what's good? A very
Yeah,
warm welcome. How you doing, bro?
can't get. I'm doing great. I'm doing great as well as you. We're out here living our best lives, trying to survive and
Yes,
handle
indeed. We are
business.
handling business in 2024 this year. We are handling business. Oh, trust me. We're going to be handling a lot of business tonight. In the meantime, of course, I'm going to go ahead with the overview. Johnny, you are pretty known in the Los Angeles region. You have been in the dance community for a long period of time. You was part of several crew members in street crews down in Los Angeles region. You associated with several dancers that come to mind. You associated with the great T Dot, who performs out there usually who dance performance over in Venice Beach sometimes. You've linked with several people during the jerk movement days that we all know, and and also we go way back. We've known each other for a long period of time. That's a no-brainer on that one. But I want to just get right to the chase on this also. Who is Johnny the Vox?
Well, you know, that's me. Nah, of course it's me. But it started when I was
Mhm.
just trying to find a name for myself, and I was called a lot of things back in the days. You know what I mean? I was called one of my jerk names was called Hot Shot Kill, not with an I, with a one and a Z. And then, I had another name after that name was Tub Master Flex. And the reason for that, because I was just a great tutter at the time. I wasn't really a bone breaker yet. And then that's how I got into the Fox. After Tub Master Flex, I got into the Fox because I mastered bone breaking. And then, like, I just had this feel of like energy coming from that name, and how the animal of the fox, of what I learned from the fox, is that it has like infinite energy, and I just wanted to like push that through my dance style as well, and just have that infinite energy to keep going, to dance for days. And how many rounds I could do, I'm always gonna mix it up and keep dropping new heat. So that's how Fox came about, and it's pretty
Indeed, it
legendary.
is. I want to go ahead to ask you, how did you get started being in part of the dance scene? Because we've seen so many amazing videos of your movements that you have done for over the years. You have been part of the jerk movement. You've been also pretty active with the bone breaking. But how did it came about when you did all of this?
Um, 13 years ago, you know, 13 years ago. I was about like 15. I'm 29 now. So, um, I was just, out of school one day, and um, I was doing these Michael Jackson dances because Michael Jackson was just like everything back in the days as a kid. I think everybody needs to like really watch his video if you don't know about him. Like that's crazy because Michael Jackson very legendary. With the dancing as well. So I used to watch all like Michael Jackson's music and how he does his dance, and I just started practicing that. I used to perform it at the school with the Temptations, and when there was a group. So I used to do that with me and my homies, and we used to just like do competitions together, and that's when I just got started to get more into dancing, and then I got into jerking, and then it continues. The cycle continues. So I didn't start it off jerking. I started off popping, which was animation and other things like that, and then I started like um crumping because of my sister, because she was a dancer as well. And that was another inspiration to me too. Like I could say her and Michael Jackson were both my inspiration, because she had battled Lady Prince. That was her name, something like that, Lady Prince, because she was a famous crumper, and she be kicking it with tight eyes and the clown. It was back in the days that she beat her, but they cheated her. But she didn't care. She was still like, everybody knew that, that's how they get down. So it was different back in the days. So
Wow,
yeah.
such a history that you've been speaking of. And, I gotta tell you, I've known you for many years. Like I said, I've known you, we go way back. You were pretty active. And
That's
I
how
mean,
I started.
you was pretty active back in the day, and you're still active to this day. Um, I want to get to the next question of the interview, of course. As we mentioned about Flexen, Flexen has reached many portions from New York to all parts of the United States and also parts of the globe. But going back into the States, Flexen has made a major impact on you, right? Correct. And
Yeah.
before we get to the main question, I want to ask you, what does flexing mean to you?
I mean, it's life. It means a lot. And it's a cultural thing. Like it's almost in my blood, you know? Even though it's in a few people that I know of, it's in their blood. But then it really wasn't in mine until I like had to work for it. So when I worked for it, I was all like, whoa, like I feel it, like it like flexing is like me, like I'm flexing, like. So wherever I go, wherever I carry it, I'll just rep that, because I feel like that's just a cultural thing for me, and it's kind of almost like a religious thing too. You gotta show respect and all that stuff too, and humble. So that's just what flexing like is to me. Like I like that's just shit is just life. And then like some people can't handle it, some people can. So that's why I love this shit.
Understood on that one. And we've seen how flexing has grown in the West Coast on because I can name a notable figures of who is pretty active on it. You, followed by CJ Ray, who currently lives in Los Angeles, um, and also in the Bay Area in San Francisco, Oakland region, Crow. Because we can't forget Crow, because he's pretty active with the flexing material as well. Do you believe that flexing could
Well,
grow in the West Coast more like the East Coast?
Um, it's starting to now. I believe it's starting to now. I was asked this question before by Animated James. Shout out to Animated
NJ.
James. Um, Jay. I mean, I said James. Yeah, but Animated Jay. Um, he asked me the question. He was all like, "Yo, you think it will ever grow?" I say, "Yeah." But back then it wasn't growing as much because flexors wasn't popping out to LA as much. You know, it was only a few people, a few flexors that were out in LA, and you know, they was the only one that was holding it down. And I started to see a few people grow, like people like Shape. You got people like Flash Drive and um more other people out that's out here too as well. That's a part of LA. um it it just like I feel like the more because like right now the flexing is growing on the West Coast. Like I'm starting to like I'm starting to love the vibe for it because now people can actually feel what flexing is because back then they didn't have that feel for flexing. They were still trying to figure out what flexing is. You know, it's still so new to the West Coast, you know. So when I brought it out here more and I started putting on for it more out here, that's when it started growing even more. I started going to reggae events and dance hall events and stuff like that with Venom and a few more other dancers that are out here that flex too, like Hitmaker Chinks and them. So um yeah, most definitely flexing's gonna grow a lot more on the West Coast, and you're gonna start seeing a lot more new faces that gonna pop out. That's gonna come from the West Coast. They're gonna find out what turfing is, and because sometimes turfing makes
Right.
flexing up, and then you know they're like, oh, I want to learn like what's this other style, and then they're gonna learn from turfing, like, oh yeah, this is flexing, you know, because you got people like Crow, as you mentioned before, that's gonna put on and it's gonna spread, it's gonna wildfire, like it's already going right now. Like I feel like everybody's catching on now, like what
Trust
flexing
me, I
is
know
more
that
out
because,
here.
last year Get Wet ENT, of course, they basically had went down, had hold a major event for both turfers and flexors alike, and it was a very great event, of course. Many great moments last year of that, and that will be a great example of that of turfing and flex that you just mentioned. I want to go ahead to ask you, what is your view on the dance community today in your point of view? What do you see what's going on in your mind about it? No, the
About the
dance
flex
community as a whole
community.
today.
Oh yeah, what's going on in my mind about that? I feel like what's done in the dark is gonna come to light. You know what I mean? So just always keep it real with yourself when it comes down to this dance shit. And that's what's going on in this dance world. In this dance world, people are just now finding out about themselves or learning about their friends and their homies, and it comes with a lot, learning about this dance world. You know what I mean? So there's multiple styles. There's multiple culture. There's so much stuff going on right now. You could really like if you really tap in with it, you're gonna learn a lot from it. So that's why I started like looking at different cultures to get more experience on how they battle, and then bring it to the flex culture and try to like mix it up. I started flipping with with my bone breaks and stuff like that. That's what like inspired me. Like I'm like, all right, I gotta like take something from this culture and take something from this culture and just make it something brand new. Make some new heat up. You know what I mean? Really in the lab. That's what them real dancers really be on. So I just be like, creating and trying to stay original and stay true to myself and learn who my friends are and trust people
Absolutely, and
wisely. You
that's
know what I
really
mean?
important.
So
And so, um,
that's what's going
and
on in the dance
indeed,
world as we
before I get
speak.
to the main question, I want to ask, who is your inspiration?
My inspiration is I started to find out that my kind of like my inspiration is from anime. Like when I started like watching that stuff, it just like, all right, I want to go out and just kind of do better and stuff like that. Like, oh snap, like that it makes me, it brings me to that safe place. You know what I mean? Like, or when I'm playing a video game, it just takes me out of the world in that example. But when I watch anime, it's different. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, certain anime is really like, you know, that's the only inspiration I got. And then there's also one more, and this is the most important one. It's God.
Amen.
Oh,
Amen to that. God is always important.
he, he's very inspirational. He will prove to you
Mhm.
that he's real. And trust me, I've been touched by an angel. So
Amen.
that's all
I
I got to
totally
say about
agree. I
that. And
totally agree. All right. I know we were talking about the dance culture, but and so forth in your view. But what do you my next question is this, what is hurting and what is uplifting the dance culture today?
I feel like in today's what's going on with um the uplifting and the the craziness is a lot of betrayals, a lot of backstabbing and messiness. People gotta like, they gotta really not say too much. Not say too much. That's very, very important. You don't have to say certain stuff too much. You don't have to go and attack someone. You don't gotta, you know, not saying too much is very important. Staying off the internet too, and trying to what's uplifting is going out to these events and actually meeting the dancers face to face. That's very, very important. Very important because you can actually feel their energy in the room. So, when you're on the internet, what's killing the culture, what's killing the dance game is a lot of betrayals, backstabbing, trust issues. We all just need to stop saying too much and focus on the right thing. That's about much I could say because there's just so much that we could be doing right now if we could just let that go. But you know, we still have OGs that still are crazy. We still got youngins that are just gonna be youngins. So we gotta do the right thing. You know what I mean? We just gotta stay focused.
Powerful words, Johnny. I do want to mention before we get to our final question, I want to ask you any dance crews that you are in today and what that might
Oh
be.
yeah, most definitely. I was fucking with um Team Heat. You know what I mean? Team Heat. I guess Venom he wanted me to join that. So that's about it. Those are the true two official crews. I don't see no other crew than that. But you know, I just have family groups. You know what I mean? At the same time, I support them. But other than that, those two crews that I named, those are official. I talked to Crow. I talked to
Hyper
Hyper. Hyper put
Kill
me
Squad,
on. You know,
ENT.
I, yeah, I was in New York one time and he helped me down. You feel me? And it was like my first time going to New York.
Big shout outs
So
to him. Big shouts to him.
listen,
He's a remarkable figure for for the scene. A very remarkable figure indeed. I want to get to the final portion. We're here. We are in the final portion of this interview so far, and I got to give it to you, Fox. You came a long way. You came a long way.
yeah.
Um, my final question to you is: what is your outlook for the rest of 2024 look like?
My outlook is growth. I want to grow more. So I'm setting out this whole plan. I'm about to like really just do it big this year. You feel me? So it's just growth, you know. Just leveling up on my dance skills and staying on top of my dance game. A lot of times, a lot of people are not on top of their dance game. They're not labbing. They're not doing nothing with their dance career. So I'm just trying to stay focused on that and stay on top of that so I could be good. Shout out to Kill Squad. You already know the game. Yeah. But yeah, man, for real, just growth. I'm just still growing. I'm still growing. I'm learning every single day. So and I gotta stay away from that other life that I was living. You know what I mean? Getting locked up and stuff ain't cool. You know, I'm just letting people know that right now. Going to jail, that shit ain't cool, bro. I'm just keeping it real. Fuck all that funny shit and all that shit. Choose your friends wisely. That's all I could say. You know what I mean? So 2024, all growth. You feel me? I gotta get some battles in. I gotta level up. It's forever. It's gonna be a forever thing. You know, infinite energy, like how I told you before, how a fox is. That's just how I'm gonna ever forever get down. I'm never gonna give up on this shit. You know what I mean? So that's just what it is. Respect.
Well, Eric, well, Johnny the Fox, thank you so much for talking with us on APK Media interview for your moment in time. I really appreciate this great moment with you, brother. I'm looking forward to see many great things from you in the future. And by the way, anybody who wants to follow this dude, make sure to follow on the screen below, which is at on Instagram at Fox underscore 23K. That's Fox underscore 23K, everybody. Make sure to follow him and also all the footages as well. In the meantime, once again, we thank you for your moment in time, Fox, for sharing with us about in on this interview about who you are. And we're going to continue to support you along the way on APK News and APK Media. It's very well appreciative, and hopefully we will see more of you in the future, bro. So just know that we support you all the way. So thank you for your time, and thank you to all of
Yo.
those who's been tuning in on APK Media interview. Coming up next is the latest news on the dance world and entertainment on APK Media 24/7 on Instagram and also on this YouTube channel. But in the meantime, until next time, I'm James APK with Johnny the Fox. Take care. God bless you.
Mhm.
One love.
Penthouse.